You? You can, well, Nancy, well, you can scoot over if you want. I don't have cooties. Orlando.
How's your day, sir? I'm good. How
I
are
don't
you?
know where it is.
Yes, likewise.
Hello, ma'am. How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I texted Roger because they have parents night, and I said as soon as I know I'm going on.
All right.
He said to, I said to
Chavez,
him,
good?
come now.
Mr. Hernandez, ready? Mr. Rodriguez, you ready? Mr. Delgado? Mrs. Delgado, you good?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez? Good to go? Mrs. Vallejo? All right. Good evening, everybody. The date is February 6th. The time is 5:34. And I now call to order the workshop of the Board of Trustees for Mercedes ISD. No action will be taken by the Board of Trustees during this workshop. And so I now open up to public comment. Ms. Sainz? No one. Then we move on the agenda. Ms. Chavez, Superintendent.
Yes, sir. This evening, we wanted to try out a new format. We're going to be asking each of the principals to please come up to the front as they're getting ready to present the needs assessment recommendations for their facilities. And we want to make sure that directors are nearby in case you need to elaborate on any concerns, any questions, or further programming decisions or thoughts that were taken into consideration when those recommendations were made. We want to be flexible so that we can rotate and give individuals that opportunity so that you have that face-to-face time when you come and address your campus. I know that we had a difficult time last time just kind of hearing individuals at the sidelines, so we want to make sure that you have full view of the board and they're able to see you face-to-face as you're expanding on your preliminary assessment needs. And we will start with the high school, and we will have some secondary facilities as well that are being proposed at other sites, and we can go ahead and address those right now based on the presentation for the high school site.
All right, good evening, school board, Mrs. Chavez, Superintendent of Schools, and colleagues. I'm going to present on the Mercedes High School Facility Needs Assessment. I'm going to begin with the conversion of the existing shops, priority level 1, and projected cost. And let me share with you, I'm going to back up a little bit because one thing that we want to go through is that our focus is mainly making sure that our students at the high school, because the class of 2027 will have to be at 100% CCMR. And so we're focused on making sure that our students are some kind of pathway, or IBC. And so therefore, that's why. Can Mr. Rodriguez hear me? Everybody can hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Rodriguez? Yes. Okay. So therefore, that's why we looked at these needs assessments so that we can move forward with many projects that we have to make sure that our students are ready for the future as well. So beginning with the conversion of existing shops, it would be around $400,000. If we went to a new ag science complex, which would make it so much bigger for our students, we'd have more pins for our students. We'd also have a working possible arena so our students can learn more on the aspect of showing animals or cattle or whatever they have at the ag shop. That we would take it to priority level 1. We're at a projected cost of $2.5 million. The construction of new shops, this is for to add to the high school, and this would be for my my welding courses and my construction courses. These shops would be an estimated of 13,000 square footage, and that would be an addition of $3.25 million. So when we look at industry-based facilities, we'll continue with upgrades. So we have security upgrades, the new motor gates to come into the high school and to exit. Roof replacement, replace structures, the elevation, when they do the building, the upgrade of drainage, the ag farmhouse repairs, additional storage, demolition of current structure, and electric upgrades. And that renovation comes at $2.5 million. Then I'm going to move on to the athletic fields and old gym. The turf, baseball, softball, and old track upgrades would be at $1.5 million with a priority level of 1. The upgrades of the old track repair and restripe, priority level of 1, $20,000. The old gym floor repairs, priority level 1 at $12,000. The boys and girls showers upgrades, priority level 1 at $50,000. Bless you. Appliances, washer and dryer, $25,000. The water heater, level 1, $15,000. P complex upgrades, and the P complex is going to be utilized for the sports and also for the maybe our dual enrollment, so we can have like an assembly kind of seating for our students that'll be taking some courses.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Let me just clarify. You have two different packets in your folder. The one with the tire cover page is the original packet that you'll be referring to. The secondary packet that is in a paper clip that's in orange, that is, you refer to it upon discussion on the optional on proposal. So at this point, if you just refer to the
It's just
no
the white one, the all white,
the all
paper.
white.
Just the black and white document.
I apologize.
So we're going to that one.
Yes, sir.
So they were gonna go with that?
You can compare.
Okay, so the orange one, but still, those are the numbers, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So this is the,
This is the one currently being shared, and then the proposal will come in after.
and just real quick, not to get off script, and how did you guys arrive at these numbers?
As a committee, if you allow me to share, as a committee, we called out on possible market value price ranges. No, with contractors, people in that area.
Contractors in the valley or?
Yes, in the valley, in the valleys, and we had these discussions, upon calling them and say, what is the average cost per square foot? What is the average cost? So we got some input, and that's how we based our projected cost.
Okay, so based on the assumption that contractors historically are known to charge 300 to 500 above actual project costs, is there, are you telling me that there could be a little wiggle room in these figures?
We did the best we could
sure
to
you did.
price or projected costs. There's always a possibility of inflation. Inflation we have no control over. However, we did our best to do that projected cost. In some areas, I can say, but not in all the areas.
Would you say that if we stood firm and tried our very best to try to get the best bids possible, that, we allow these, it's because just simply, Mercedes has been taken advantage of for so many years. I mean, back since the mid-90s, the taxpayers are, they're like, me as a taxpayer too, we're like, we've had all these bonds and we're still, it feels like we're spinning our wheels, we really haven't gotten anywhere. So I'm just saying that, if we come across and say, hey, you guys gotta earn our business, because trust me, if hypothetically this were to go through, there's gonna be a lot of people, a lot of buzzards. There's blood in the water, there's sharks, they're gonna wanna try to knock our heads off. So,
I think the one thing that we can assure the board, the administration and the individuals that I have here, they have done their due diligence and being involved in the process. I don't know about the past in terms of how that was managed, but the one thing that I can assure you is that everyone is looking at, yes, the scarcity in terms of resources, the window of opportunity that we have as a school district to be able to line up with the growth that we're seeing in our community and the positioning of our school district. And I can tell you right now, the students love their facilities and they love, the resources that they have available to them. And I'm extremely proud when I see them out there in the middle of that football field, in our extracurricular activities and all, because they deserve the best in facilities. And it's going to be our job to ensure that the management of this preliminary conversation of just right now visiting with the board and looking at what we have assessed in terms of needs. We're not there, but we can assure you that the conversations in terms of the level of transparency that will be delivered on behalf of the administrators and on behalf of my administration and on behalf of the board as we make those decisions and how we intend to also use the resources that we have available to be able to keep our publics informed. From our parents to our staff to every individual in this community to know that how this whole process is being planned out and how the conversations are going to continue. We are at the preliminary steps, which is right here today, and trying to show you what we have in terms of facility needs. And this conversation will continue to be shaped by all the stakeholders that will be involved in the process. So,
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, I appreciate everybody's due diligence. In fact, I'm happy, I'm psyched. I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate, so to speak, and just kind of just throwing that out there, but no, hey, I'm psyched.
and thank you, because that history is lining up to be more prepared for that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I didn't even come across as negative, I'm just, this is
No,
what the
no.
taxpayers are gonna say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're not asking for a couple of combos, from Whataburger,
Yes, sir.
so.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Sorry, I
add
didn't mean to
something.
step the line there. I was
Yeah,
just-
no, I'm gonna add on to what Mr. House said. It's just, you can tell that, as a taxpayer, we gotta be very careful, but, I was contemplating the little stuff, and that was like, we have the young, I'm so happy that you're sitting with us and sharing this, because this is gonna last 30 to 50 years. So I have the greatest confidence in you guys, and I'm very appreciative that you guys are doing the hard work. So great experience, by the way, if you're moving up the ranks. So thank you for challenging.
And I'll also
taking
share,
the
I think
challenge.
when we had that meeting, and EDC expressed that we had so many people coming in, and that our job was to make sure that we were ready to bring in those families, and that we provide a high-quality education for all our students here.
Yeah, that's the golden promise. That's, what's really helping our cause. That we have to be ready for what's coming. Not only that, we were calling it a wish list last week, but it's more of a mandatory list to keep the district going.
Yes, sir.
Because to keep us in the game, because quite frankly, if we don't do this, we could be out.
Yes.
But anyway.
We thank you, Mr. Howell. We'll continue, the bleacher inspection and repairs in the stadium, $20,000. Athletic storage, this is underneath the bleachers, I understand, mats, hurdles, storage, $15,000. A fire alarm system upgrade, $450,000. On the second page, roofing, estimated square footage that we would have to work with is 72,300 at $30 square foot. Power level 1 at $2.1 million. HVAC, we have our R22 units. We have 8 of them for $60,000. Electrical upgrades, this would be the parking lot lights to become LED lights at $15,000. We want to also upgrade our classrooms to make sure that they're competitive with everybody else and upgraded, and that'll be at $300,000. Convert to College and Career Center our library as we move forward with our CCMR and many different, I would say, ways to get our students involved to the university or to get some kind of like pathway. We would convert our library to a resource center for them as well, and that's $25,000. The parking lots, our student parking lot as well as our teacher parking lot need to be upgraded. The signage, a LED marquee, excuse me, a LED marquee for $40,000. Replace restroom stalls at $15,000. Replace restroom stalls. Another one, the first one was for staff, the second one was for students. Cafeteria upgrade. Make a modernized floor plan and furniture for the cafeteria, $350,000. The intercom upgrade at $175,000, and technology upgrade, especially for our upgrades for our CTE program at Mercedes High School, and that's $22,000. So those are the facility needs assessments for the high school at this time. So if you look at the
I had a question real quick.
Yes, sir.
It says addition of G-wing restrooms for mall?
Yeah, we're going to go into that with the other options that we have here for the school board. So if you look at the Mercedes High School, the construction of the agriculture mechanics and construction of electrical shops, if you look up here at the TV to my right, to your left, we have moved the proposed site, made it a little bit closer to the parking lot area. And so it's 13,000 square feet, and if you look at what we currently have, it's 6,000 square feet. So we'd be housing more students, double the size of classrooms, and where we can add more for our students for the construction and welding and other projects that we have coming. This is the projected site for the agriculture science complex. And I'm excited because one thing that we've done in conjunction with the junior high is we started the CTE program. I believe 6th grade is like an Explorer program. 7th grade, they started getting into the CTE pathway that they'd like to start.
Mr. Aguirre, really quick, let me interrupt you. On the proposed ag mechanics that you have,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so that you moved that, you had that in front of the ROTC building and you moved it, is that to the parking lot now?
It's right behind the ROTC building.
You want to elaborate?
Right
The
behind?
portables are at?
Yes.
It would be in the place where the special ed department portable is.
The portables are-
And the reason we propose is that we're trying to allow the building to have a face, an identity of its own, and not be visual. We'd be able to see it. We'd be able to place the doors, the garage doors, towards the street, easy for deliveries, etc. And so that was the reason behind the proposed relocation of the building.
Yeah, I think the acoustics, right, especially if you're.
Okay, and then what happened to the canopy that you had? Did you do away with the canopy?
I think we did.
So there's no need for a canopy to cover the kids from going from that building to the main building?
That building's going to be like with the building that's in front of it, like, so they'd be going through the hall. They'd be attached.
No, it wouldn't be. It would be standalone building.
Mm-mm, it's on its own, that's why I'm asking. Because the other building that you had proposed was closer to the building, but now you have it further from the building and there's no canopy now.
We all looked at the needs assessment, and we as a committee we decided,
Make a note
Yeah, I would.
so that you can come back and we can revisit the recommendations as they come up through this
Well,
conversation.
let me interject real quick, because a lot of the campuses that I visited and I used to work, I like the strategic location of it, and the reason, and this is my point about it, is the acoustics. And I understand that we should have some type of canopy, et cetera, absolutely, for that. But I have a concern because, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Aguirre, the instructional part is it science in there? I'm very ignorant about this, but if we have the ag mechanics, construction shops, to me, from my experiences, a lot of loud noise, a lot. So my question to Mr. Aguirre is like, this is the instructional part of the building, correct? Like the
Yes, it's
math? Can you
instructional.
elaborate a little bit on that?
It's instructional and it's also the construction part,
So they'll be making a lot of noise with the, well,
with the welding and then with the construction.
mhm. Okay. That's the only concern I have about it, is just the acoustics of that particular building, but fair enough. Yes, yes.
But it's a standalone.
You got to separate?
It's
You mean from the shop to the actual classroom?
Yeah.
And you're talking about the classroom of ag mechanics?
Yes.
Currently, they do work next to each other. I'm sure that, through architecture, they can maybe install some sound
Soundproof,
absorption
okay.
type of walls that would minimize that sound.
Okay.
But they're gonna be isolated though, right? It's just gonna be that on its own.
Correct.
It's a standalone.
And that's
Yeah.
currently the
I don't
design that
understand
we
why
have
would
in the
need
main
sound
high school.
absorption. That's gonna cost more.
Well, Mr. Hernandez is referring that the shop versus the classroom in the same building, there's going to be a lot of noise. So I'm sure through insulation or some type of material, we could minimize some of the noise of the grinder or whatever welding. But usually, the instructor is
either
in the, yeah.
in one place or the
Yeah,
other.
so-
So both things won't be happening at the same
No.
time, because they're either receiving lessons or hands-on.
Correct.
Mr. Aguirre, Mr. Herrera, I have a couple of questions. On the athletic fields and old gym, the turf item, appliances, the complex, well, those two, do we have warranties on these items? Or do we have items, do we have warranties that we've used? And, when were they last replaced, or?
So with the turf, obviously, the baseball, so those would be new. As far as the upgrade on the old track, that track is over, I think, 15 years old. And so at times the warranty is usually, I know for like our current track, is usually 8 years. We're already at past that of the warranty. So they have been replaced. They don't replace the whole, but they'll come and replace a section of the track. Paint's not covered under warranty and stuff like that. But sections of the track have been replaced. As far as our football field turf, those are, we have used that warranty. It's a 10-year warranty, so we're coming up to that 10-year as we speak this year. But as far as the washing machines and appliances, yeah, those are way past their warranty. Those are usually the ones in the old gym that have been replaced several times as far as parts, and they're past their warranty on the appliances.
Part of the situation that we have is that, we might have warranties and we might have all those, but no preventative maintenance has been done on certain areas. And so that's, we need to be better about keeping up with preventative maintenance. In our house, when we have our washer and dryer, we have a refrigerator, things like that, we buy the extra. So if we have it, we need to utilize it, okay?
Yeah, my washer went out, and I had the pump to drink the water out. I had to take from the parts, it was $350. To buy a brand new washer, which I did, cost like $550. So sometimes it's just cheaper to buy a brand new.
Yeah,
You're at-
and the vendors are usually pretty good. Like, I'll give you our football turf. They'll come by every summer and they'll do the preventative maintenance. They'll walk the track and they'll do certain areas and they'll tell you, Coach, that's covered, that's not covered, and we try to get as much as we can out of the warranties before they expire.
But that's a third party that's doing that?
What's that?
That's the third party that's doing that?
That's the vendors that we've used in our current football field and track right now. As far as the old track,
As far as 2 hours, our in-house?
on our in-house, yes, the maintenance will come in and they'll come, any fencing or anything like that that needs repair, we'll do it. But usually we try, with warranty, we gotta stick with the vendor that we purchased it from. We try to utilize them as much as we can before we turn to our maintenance. Usually if we turn to our maintenance,
No,
it's
but
because of
what I'm
warranty.
saying is, our in-house keeping up with inspection, say every so often.
Correct,
To
yes.
ensure that if we need something addressed, that
Right.
we call that third-party vendor to make sure that they meet the needs of our
Correct.
warranty.
Yes, ma'am. We instruct our coaches to, walk the field, check their facilities, and that's what they're constantly doing, and we're in communication with. If there's something really wrong right now, like we gotta get it fixed,
So that we
and that's
address
what we
it.
do it, right.
And Raj, and these warranties basically cover normal wear and tear.
Right.
But in the valley with the heat, it's not really, things, go away a little bit faster to get down here in the valley.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely, in our football stadium, we've done a really good job of keeping that, but you're right, the heat, just if you look at our scoreboard, we used to use burnt orange, and then kind of the heat would wear that down. They would, just like it wears the track down as well. And so, but they do a good job. The vendors that we've used, that's some of the top questions that we use, and if we fortunate enough to go with this, it'll be the same questions that we use to move forward with this.
Mr. Adame, interesting that you say right now that you say the scoreboard. Is that working?
Yes, the football stadium scoreboard is working.
It is working?
Yes.
Okay, the last time, I believe that there was a lot of issues with it.
Correct, yes,
So
and then
we
that
paid-
warranty.
that's a lot of money. That is,
Yeah.
what was the price on that?
It was
quite a
over
bit?
about 300,000.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that.
And it's,
that's
and it's
what-
new.
And it's going on 9 years, so we didn't put it in here, but, eventually we'd.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
On the athletic storage, where do you currently have your mats and hurdles and things
We
like that?
store
Is it
'em
under
we-
bleachers?
Under the visitor side, when it's in the fall.
In the open?
And they're open, and the thing that we're recommending there is to put cement underneath, so we usually put pallets under there, so they don't get directly on the ground, but when it rains, they do get muddy. So we would like to have a storage where we can seal them from the sun, because like Mr. Howell said, the sun does take a toll on the mats and stuff. So that's why we put them on the visitor side, to keep them in the shade as much as possible, but they are open. And we'd like to just cement those and fence those off, because when the visitors do go in there, we haven't had issues, but, in some cases where they're walking back and forth, especially the younger kids like to pull and tug on them and stuff like that, so that was for the storage area.
So during off-season, we don't have anywhere to store?
As far as the off-season, they will store them under the bleachers.
Mr. Herrera,
Yeah.
do we have do we have other areas that we could consider storage instead of?
Not in the new gym and not in the old gym. We've assisted athletics in placing them under the bleachers to protect them from the sun, but we do need to put some concrete and some barriers, some walls of fencing or something, so that the public or visitors won't get into those areas, because those mats are pretty expensive. Whether it's a pencil or something they use to puncture them, we want to make sure we keep them away from possible vandalism.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Aguirre.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to continue now with the Mercedes High School, another option that we have, that all we're going to do here with this option is look at your second page. And what we're doing is we're bringing our MOS students, our Academic Academy students, to the high school to make sure that they're on the same playing field as our regular students, that we provide our CT courses for. And being a high school that is looking forward to making sure that all our students are being ready to graduate, if we have the students at the G Wing, we bring them into the high school, all we would have to do is add some restrooms to the G Wing, and that could be an addition to our high school, and so we can work with our students, all our students.
What do we currently have there?
The G Wing, I have math, and I have also some social studies and communications
No,
class.
I'm saying in the areas where you're suggesting the new restrooms, what are we currently
Oh.
using that as?
They're just, what it is, if you look up there, it's just a glass wall. A glass wall, like 2 by 2 glass. I guess it connected the old building to the new section.
Walkway between both
So it's
areas?
just, yes. So that's the addition or another option for the high school.
Before we leave the high school, I'd like to say something. Are we there? Okay. Like, for example, being in the insurance field, if I was an inspector, right out of the gates, wouldn't pass inspection, 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 wouldn't pass inspection. So what's happening right now with our insurance policies throughout the district, our policies are excluding the roofs like this, which means if a hurricane comes in, if high winds comes in, if we get a hard storm, any water that comes in and does damage is not covered. any water falls on the floors, I mean, kids slip, we're exposed as far as our liability concerned. So I was gonna ask Ms. Chavez that if you could get a list of our insurance exclusions that we have on our properties and find out who signed on those exclusions.
Right now, what we're looking at is, I think it's best to look at the needs assessments that you have here, because we are producing within the information that the campuses are providing. One of those priorities is the existing roofs.
Okay.
Because
No,
we
my
know that
My point is that, we're not properly, our buildings are not properly insured because we don't pass inspection. And I think that's gonna go a long way with the
Correct.
taxpayers that are saying, hey, why are you
Yeah.
asking us to fix all this stuff? Well, a big part of it is that we can't get our buildings properly insured because they don't meet compliance, So, I mean, I'm just thinking of ways that we're gonna be able to help get this thing through.
And that's well noted, and I understand also through our conversations that as soon as we bring everything up to par, then they would pass inspection, so we can have the
And not only
insurance.
that, they charge, believe it or not, if they exclude the roof, not only do they have you sign an exclusion, but they charge you a roof exclusion surcharge. So that way they can clean their hands and say, not only did you sign the form, but you
Pay the
paid more for
surcharge.
it. So, yeah, once we fix these roofs, our premiums are gonna go down. So in a matter of time, some of this stuff is gonna help start paying this stuff off,
Yes, sir.
so. anyway.
Going back on the mall, on that G wing, I know y'all gave us numbers on students already. Now, how many students are we talking about that are in mall? Mr. Canales, do you have that?
140.
About 140 in mall. Now, are they all fit there? You're okay in where you're at?
Yes,
You can deal with that many kids there
yes, I can.
for mall? And
Where I-
counting DAP at your place?
Yes, the DEP is in one wing and there's three classrooms there. We can adjust and move there. We have
So that's
to have
enough
all of
there.
them.
So if we got 140 in mall, would they fit in that wing?
Yes, sir, because they also have an AM and PM
Yes.
schedule.
Oh, so they'll be,
Oh, the flex schedule.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
but you're saying, Mr. Canales, that where they're at right now, you have enough space for those amount of kids as well, for both, right?
Yes, yes.
You have enough
Yeah,
for
we have those positives.
mall students and for
Yes.
DAP students?
flexible,
You're
yes.
plenty of room where you're at? Okay.
Any other questions?
Because you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Mr. On your needs assessment, you make an estimate there for the intercom upgrades of $175,000. On the meeting we had last week, your intercom estimate was $100,000. What was the difference of $75,000 this time around?
Mr. Handy made that recommendation. So Mr. Handy made the recommendation based on some pricing that he had. So Mr.
One of the areas, Mr. Rodriguez, that we had not had the conversation with was technology. So I'm visiting with Mr. Handy to make sure that any modifications or any systems that would be coordinated or installed through his department were also looked through his expertise in terms of further costs because of technology. And making sure that the systems were coordinated across the district.
The reason I asked is because I was there at the high school, we were able to fix the intercom system using the equipment, but what we're talking about is something that the intercom district-wide.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Mr. Handy?
Oh. The question is, the cost on the intercom system from last week to this week, the 25 inches, or the change for secondary, yes.
At the high school?
Yes.
That's an approximation, sir. We would have to have somebody do a walkthrough. We've done walkthroughs at the other schools, with the exception of the high school. It's multiple systems tied together, so we do need somebody to really walk through that, preferably on a weekend. Yes, sir. It would be a digital system. It would be similar to what Mecca has. It's a digital head unit. It works on a different type of wiring.
One second, sir. Mr. Herrera is having a conversation with Ms. Vallejo.
Yes, sir.
But those HVAC systems are equipment only, so does not include the labor to install those HVAC, correct?
I'll let Mr. Herrera answer that. It's a maintenance question.
So the subsequent question would be, and I know you're gonna ask him, but just look at the question, is on these other estimates, does that include labor or would that just include?
Okay.
For example, the roofing.
It does include?
That's the overall price.
The square feet, right?
The square foot, yes, it does include labor. Yes, sir.
To the administrators getting ready to present, let's start with what is new to the assessment from the presentations last week. And let's start with each of the campuses and that conversation first. Because I know that as we go through these documents, most of that information remained the same. But I want to make sure that in areas where you had cost eliminated or reduced, or because of technology, you had a change in cost. And then to be able to look at the two options with regards to MA and early college and the early childhood center as well.
Yes, please.
So I think in reference to the G-Wing and moving MA over, we know that we do have room at MA, right, for the students. What we are looking at is connecting them to the CTE options that we do have, because right now that's been the biggest struggle, is connecting them to get their pathways, to get their certifications, and that would be, if we put them at the high school, they would still do half-day MA, half-day CTE, and it would get them their pathway and a certification. So that would be the biggest advantage there.
Mr. Aguirre, I have a, thank you, Mr. Lafuente. I have a question. I noticed on the new, I'm missing a page somewhere. Rekeying is not on here anymore. Did we remove that?
Yes. Rekeying and the replacement of doors, because we have the SAFE grant, and that was 2.6 million. So we're looking at ensuring that all of those safety changes and recommendations, that we're able to take advantage of this resource.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez, you had a question on HVAC?
Yes, sir. Mentioned there, equipment only. So in terms of the installation, the labor and so forth, do we have any estimates at all?
No, sir. We do not have an estimate for installation.
Any other questions from the for the high school?
Just really, what do we wind up spending on the fixing of that wing at the high school? The new repairs?
For the roofing?
Yeah.
I can give you an accurate amount tomorrow, if you would allow me,
more or
Ms.
less
Jones.
ballpark, or?
I think 150, around 150,000.
Okay,
For, it wasn't the entire wing, it was the new
Section, no?
section.
Okay, so let's just go with 150. What's 5% of 150, guys? My number's a little lower here.
10% is,
This is,
5%.
that is,
What is it?
25?
100? Or
25,000.
Okay, so if we would have had our roof properly insured there, we would have paid 25,000 and saved 125,000. And weather-related claims do not affect our policies. So that's the kind of money I'm talking about, that how important it is to make sure we get our roofs properly covered. And I hate to circle around that, but it still eats at me.
Yes, sir.
That, you know, if we would have had those roofs properly insured, we filed a claim, and they just kept on, they gave us the runaround for months, and they come back and said, the roof exclusion, the roof is excluded. And we're like, pues,
So in looking at the high school, I want to make sure that we continue here with Mr. Mejia, so that we can look at the, not only the option. I wanted to just clarify a couple of things to kind of set the presentations right now. We're simply looking at the needs assessments, what the campuses have identified. At this point, we're not looking at how can we revisit, you know, what we need to do in terms of the issues. The charge that was given to us was to go ahead and work with the staff to be able to conduct this comprehensive needs assessment, and then to be able to present you with the findings, and then have you elaborate on recommendations or directions that you want to see in terms of all of these campuses. But in meeting with the staff today, we talked about the accountability system and the fact that at one point when that mall campus was open, we were looking at the needs of that time and that accountability. Right now, with the new accountability, it's all about the CCMR. How are we connecting the students to college, career, their readiness in terms of an industry licensing, or their readiness for military, in this case. So we know at the mall campus, it's very difficult to go and recreate CTE programming to be able to offer those connections. It's no longer just about credit recovery and getting the students to get a high school diploma. That campus is also rated through alternative, it's an alternative campus, but I'm still rated on the connections to CCMR as well. So all of those students will have to be coordinated with the high school initiatives and the programming that we have there, so that we have them taking advantage of that. The only thing that we're trying to create is a school within a school concept. And then the other communication is that we want to get out of the business of remediating and getting more precise in terms of the programming for each of the students, so that we're able to create the intervention early. And we knew that this past year, we were going to have that number of students in MA, simply because of the number of students that were still pending the end of course success. So past this year, I know that the numbers are going to reduce, and at some point, I hope to see only the dropout recovery effort being the population that we're serving through this initiative in this case. Because all credit recovery or all students that have fallen behind, our goal is to be able to work with the high school to create that intervention side by side, as the students are also taking advantage of the CCMR connections. And P-Tech for those students that want to go the associate's degree as well, as we offer the early college high school initiative. Then the other conversation was at the previous workshop, we presented to you recommendations for modifications and renovations to the Mecca building, the early college high school. And also side by side, we have the housing of the early childhood cooperative that we have with Head Start, a total of 7 classrooms. So as we started looking at that conversation, how does a building get modified for the upper grade levels at the same time that you're trying to accommodate the little ones in terms of cafeteria, outdoor facilities, and also presentation areas, access to the library, access to common areas as well. And then looking at what Mecca was needing, the early college, needing lab space, needing green space to have the students go out and decompress during breaks or during lunches, in this case. And when we started looking at all those costs and looking at the vision, how does this work if you create a space for the early college high school initiative designated? Why is it so important to have it as a standalone system in our district? Because we're working with a high number of our students and population within our community that are first-generation college goers. So the acculturation and acclimation process is so critical to be with students who have the same aspirations, who are supporting each other, and the school is supporting that system as well. And then coming back to the comprehensive high school and looking at how do we create the schools within the school concept to be able to deal with the larger population that we have enrolled there in that system. And it's all about offering the choice, the options for the school district. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Good evening, Ms. Chavez, Board President, members of the board and administration. So again, I'll just do a real quick recap of what our facilities needs assessment were from last time, so you can briefly review what was being proposed. You know, with the understanding that early college would continue to be here, we would make the upgrades necessary for us. And as you see, some of those modifications included the repurposing of this building that was once a cafeteria to a potentially multi-purpose room, conversion of the classroom into a full functioning science lab, and then of course potentially maybe making some improvements to the north parking area so that we can include a green space picnic area for students, as we talked about. And so some of those needs haven't changed since last, with the exception of maybe some added improvements to technology after the additions from the technology department. And so if you see the multi-purpose room, that price went down a bit, but we included in technology. So those were, for the most part, really the similar recommendations that we had identified based on our needs. Okay, but also with that being said, and with what you heard from Mr. Aguirre, and maybe some potential options for moving the mall students and DAP out as we're continuing to align program of choice and connecting those students to the CTE, it potentially presents that opportunity if that campus will be vacated for looking at what's considered option 1 and option 2, which you also see there. And Ms. Chavez alluded to, if we move with the modifications that we're recommending right there, we're also, of course, moving to the accommodations for the mill building, because as we said, we really can't share the courtyard with them. There's facilities they can't share with us. So in looking at the costs associated with customizing for adults and for the younger students, the committee also just entertained some options of what if, you know, what could happen if the MOB G-Wing project moves forward, and then there's the availability of the space at the mall campus. So what you see there are some of the options for reconverting the mall building now into an option for the early college, and which would still be a standalone early college. Of course, at the current condition that mall is right now, it wouldn't obviously be able to house the number of classrooms we need, the space that we need, but it does have the science lab and it does have the room for expansion. So we'll now move to the mall building conversion to the Mecca option. And as recommended by administration directors, what the new construction space would be for what was calculated about 15,000 square feet to give us the additional classrooms we need. Included in there, you see the back space into a turf area, you know, giving us options for our students sometimes when they go out. Our PE students that have to travel to the high school maybe wouldn't have to travel all the days. It still includes the roofing that has to be done, whether mall stays there or not, or whether Mecca goes in there or not. Those are still modifications that have to be made. The HVAC, the electrical, none of that was going to change whether that would be mall Mecca. But some things that are unique, if we do convert that into the Mecca building, would be addition of the parking lot, and of course we would need to upgrade and upgrade the cafeteria. There would be a need for the expansion of the cafeteria to house the number of students that we have, which is approximately between 360 and potentially all the way up to 400 if we get to that point. And so, like I said, just staying on that vision and that plan of making sure that we're aligning our students with the programs of choice. If mall takes advantage of the options that are at the high school, aligning them there, it presents this option for Mecca to potentially go into that campus with the needed additions, renovations. And of course, the proximity to the bus barn is always going to be an added advantage for our students as we travel a lot to STC. Down the expressway, it's a little bit closer to the high school for when we do move our athletes to the high school. And, you know, of course, it's a little bit more visible, especially for our middle school students, especially for those students that go day in and day out to Chacon. They have a vision of what might be awaiting them, right? So it's just in terms of, you know, staying in line with the standalone Mecca option, as we know that's still the need as we continue to offer a more personalized program for our students. Like I said, this is a potential option that opens up, you know, piggybacking off what the high school is already doing.
Sir, you mentioned about the turf fields and stuff also, like for PE and stuff. So that 15,000 square feet addition, you're talking about locker rooms in there as well?
No, sir, that's
Where they have to dress out?
that's just right now classrooms, but you're right. I mean, for the most part right now, the PE classes, when they do go to the high school, I mean, when they do have their alternating days that they do dress out, Mr. Reyes still buses them to the high school.
Right, because I know, no, but you were saying the turf facilities that you were going to use them for PE as well.
Well, there can be options on days that maybe coach wants to do something out with the kids. Doesn't necessarily maybe that either the gym is not an option or he's not as constrained. There could be some options for taking them out, even for us, for our students when they go out. These are just preliminary ideas, right, to get us started. Obviously, it gives us the option to expand later. Where we're at here right now, there's really no options for us to expand or even entertain some of those. The transportation to the high school would be our only option. This at least starts creating some options. And as we go further into
So in the 1,500 square feet, there's not going to be any locker rooms? You're not looking?
no, not at this point. Not at that we would need. That's just clearly for the additional classrooms we would need. It would have to be a total of 23. That would be an additional, how many more classrooms with that square feet, Mr. Reda?
4 or 5 in one hallway. Yeah.
An average classroom is a 30 by 30, so that's 900 square feet, so we divide 15 by 15,000.
We'd also add more restrooms in there? Which option do you think fits best, closer to mile 1 or behind the building?
My recommendation would be the front of the building, just so we can give it a new look.
Which is mile 1? Okay.
Yes, correct.
Mile 1?
Yeah.
But we have both options up there in the video, one in the back, and then option 2
In the
with
front.
the,
Yeah, keep people away from the from mile one. Kids playing in the back.
Mr. Media, I have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
With this turf, you're saying that the coach is still gonna bus the students to the high school. So having the turf and already having the coach on campus, can we eliminate them having to be transferred to the high school? Can the class take place at Mont?
That question probably would better be answered by Coach Adame as far as the physical education aspect of those requirements. Huh? Oh, he left the room. I'm
Yes,
sorry. I'm
he
sorry.
had parents' night.
Okay.
at the hospital.
But obviously, we still would not have a gym, so any of those activities that require the use of the gym would probably still require the transportation to the gym. This is not necessarily giving us, like Coach said, locker rooms or areas to dress out. But there are certain activities where they can go outside and engage in team building activities, the different type of classes that are done, but not just necessarily for PE, but even for the science classrooms when sometimes they need to go outside for some experience. It just gives us more options. Now, if the plan to move forward with Chacon Middle School and also adding some of those additional facilities, there's options now. The options also increase to use their field, depending on what activity coach is scheduled for the kids.
That's where I was going next, because you have this proposed turf here, and in the last meeting we had, Chacon is proposing that we move the current football field down towards Moss, so they would be pretty much right next to each other?
Sure.
Yeah, because it's gonna be across the street.
It'd be
It's
a
gonna be a week.
couple yards north, but it wouldn't be right behind Mercedes Academic
No,
Academy.
but it's still gonna get a good portion of it, because we were crossing the street.
Yeah, but
Because we're
there's
closing the
there's another
street.
football, there's another practice football field right here, and then there's a ditch.
Let me ask you, is there enough
And
room
then
there
this
Yeah.
is
to
bus bar.
do 7-on-7,
It was gonna cross actually here
run,
and to
you
this
know,
other football field that they got right
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm saying.
So this football
what do you call
field
'em?
and this,
The
all this
40-yard
is,
dash back and
is
forth, what do you call
a
that?
ditch right
Yeah.
here,
I used
and
to
then
do
you
that,
got the bus bar. So the thing that's gonna happen
wind
is
sprints,
this-
wind
the
sprints, stuff of
field's
that
gonna be
nature,
from here
walk,
to
walkthroughs,
the other field,
sport
and it
walkthroughs,
crosses the
say
street.
walkthroughs,
So it
right?
still
I
doesn't
mean,
even cross.
that would be
It
a
won't even go into.
question for
Gentlemen, did you have
athletics,
something to
for Mr. Rivera.
If they're gonna expand the
Mrs. Nancy.
building, then they're gonna do the building.
Miss Nancy.
It's gonna be-
We have the diagram up here, and you'll see, a proposed location to the Chacon turf field. It doesn't reach up as high as the backside to transportation. And then we have the Hinojosa recreational turf field. Because it is elementary, we would want to keep it divided, some fencing. So yes, Ma is to the upper right hand, but there still be a distance between the campus. However, it can be utilized. It's just a matter of scheduling, but
That's what I'm
that is the
saying, 'cause
distance.
We're gonna have all three, like, right next to each other, pretty much.
It's concerning. It's concerning.
Go to the Google Earth, maybe. Maybe Google Earth so you can see it.
I don't have, this is a PowerPoint.
Okay. And like I said, at least there's options, right? But that is something we can definitely look more into to see, what can be shared, what cannot be shared as terms of facilities. But because that is an elementary facility, campus, obviously to the extent possible, we'd like to, keep them separate. But I don't see any reason why some of these facilities might not be allowed, we could share at some point. But like I said, at least it gives some options, whereas right now where we're at, we are extremely limited. There's no green spaces for us here. There's no way we could use a courtyard. So this would, when you look at what's available, even thinking into the future, right, there's more options for Mecca and to grow.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
On the 50,000 square feet, how many classrooms are we looking at?
It comes out to 16 classroom at a 30 by 30.
Mr. Herrera said about, could be up to 16 classrooms if they're 30 by 30.
I think what he's trying to get at total classrooms included.
Oh, what the total would be, is the 16, well, we need 23. I know Mall currently has 9.
One my question, how many total would you need?
23 to continue as we're doing now. Obviously, classroom space can always be helpful. We can, if it gives us more options, flexibility with SCC. Remember that the SCC professors do come to our campus and will utilize our facilities. So depending on the number of classrooms we have also dictates some of our scheduling and when and who comes and then who we send to STC. So the more classrooms we have at our campus, the more flexibility it gives us to offering either different sections or at different times when these professors come, because it obviously has to be scheduled based on what we can accommodate.
And for the cafeteria, how many students would be accommodated for the expansion of the cafeteria?
Well, we would need, at a minimum, it needs to accommodate at least maybe 250 students at once, minimum. But, Mr. Herrera?
You know, in taking the expansion of the cafeteria, we'd have to reconsider the square footage for the area just to accommodate the additional space for the cafeteria. That 15,000 square feet it's maximized at 16 classrooms. How many classrooms do we have at Mecca currently?
Currently, we have 23 classrooms. 2 of them are used.
I'm sorry, at Mall.
Oh, at
9. 9 plus 16 gives us how many? 24?
25.
25?
25.
25 classrooms.
But of course, one of those is a devoted science lab. So the current science lab, depending if it's retrofitted, so it could be utilized again as a functioning lab.
With this being considered, the cafeteria would need to be expanded and what would that cost be?
We'd have to really measure the extension of the cafeteria and minus it from the 15,000 square feet but we won't get a better idea, an exact idea, until we start having conversations with architects, because they'd give us a better picture of the cost. Right now, we're just averaging an average of $250 a square foot times the square footage. That's how we're projecting the cost.
Okay, so we'll get more information later as we proceed. Thank you.
Any other questions for the options for Mecca? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If I can ask Mel to go ahead.
Good afternoon. All right. As we had our earlier, you want me to go through the options first, ma'am? All right.
Go ahead and look at what we were proposing in terms of changes, and then you can move to the mail converting to an early childhood center.
Okay. All right. All right.
Just go with that.
All right. Okay, the preliminary identified needs for the Mercedes Early Literacy Department. All right, we needed roofing. We talked about the roofing. There's repairs that are needed. Estimated square footage was 15,000 square feet at $30 a square foot, which was a projected cost of $450,000. We need an intercom system, which is something that we lacked, so the upgrade itself was gonna cost us $15,000. The exterior lighting, there's more lighting needed in the back area as discussed the last time. And we're looking at approximately $3,000. The signage, we need an LED marquee. We presently don't have one, so in order to promote, I guess, more of our, well, what we do, right?
Yeah, that's it.
To gather more children, it's a $40,000 cost. Access control, we don't have one at the present time. We have a security guard, and we have Head Start that runs a very tight ship. Therefore, we're able to meet our safety needs. To get a keypad, access control with a keypad, it would cost us approximately $5,000. A motor gate, that would be needed because those gates are tremendously heavy. Most of us are females, and they're hard to open and close. So that in itself, it would be approximately $15,000. The foundation repair towards the background, to where the playground is in the back area, we're looking at approximately $100,000. And of course, the restrooms, they're very old looking, so we'd like to replace that, and that we're looking at $60,000. Estimated cost of $688,000.
Yeah, the signs are money well spent, no doubt about it. Everything here is solid.
Yeah,
And I like the way that you have a sense of how much money this is.
Yeah, well, really helps us with that. Right.
Some
and-
people don't even blink when they ask for $1 million.
Right, so now we have the pre-K kinder option with the Mercedes Early Childhood Center, like we had it at one time. And that we would kind of look for an fire alarm system. We would need an alarm system. We would need an upgrade of that. It would cost approximately $150,000. The HVAC, $134,000. And we're looking at the equipment only. This one?
Thanks, Raj.
Oh. Okay, the intercom, wiring devices, $55,000. The electrical, the upgrade of a parking lot lights to LED, $8,000. The parking lot itself for staff and male parking lot on the north side, an overlay, $50,000. The cosmetology student parking lot on the north side, also an overlay, $75,000. And the teacher parking lot on the south side, the overlay for $25,000. We're looking at furniture, student desks for $75,000. We talked about the marquee, LED marquee for $40,000. Motor gate, double gates would be $10,000. Restrooms to replace the stalls, $120,000. A cafeteria upgrades, modernized floor plan and furniture, $120,000. A kitchen to renovate the kitchen and serving lines, $850,000. And then, of course, the stage, the flooring, $10,000, coming out to $1,722,000.
I think we came back and received a revised cost projection for the cafeteria, and I believe that is at $600,000 plus. Okay?
It's included in your packets. It's labeled CNS. It's in your regular.
And Ms. Gracia, can you elaborate on rationale, purpose for this facility?
So I'm just excited because we're bringing the Early Childhood Center back. We're trying to bring it back. But basically, it would really help us out. We've currently used this facility. I've had to call Mr. Mejia so that we can have our early childhood training here because it is a big area. So the parking is something that's already there for us. The facilities are already here for that. It would help us with our resources to have everybody here doing our pre-K 3, pre-K 4 kinder classrooms. It would help us as district personnel. We're just going to one place where we have to serve all our kids. The stage also, we tend to have a lot more performances with our little kids to bring in parents, parental involvement. So this is the perfect area for that as well. I know the playground that they currently have has already been licensed by Head Start. So that's one thing that we wouldn't have had to do. Right now, we currently have Mrs. Hernandez's program at 2 different campuses. She's got 7 classrooms here and 4 at Travis. So that would help us bring them all together and then bring all our other MISD early childhood kids here. So there's several benefits. We already have in the front part of the east side of the campus, we have the facilities for a life skills unit. And I think right now, across the district, we have 3 different ECSE units. So that is already set up for that as well. I think we would need 22 classrooms that it would include the general ed and the SPED. And the facility here holds up to 29 classrooms, and we still have extra rooms. For example, we would need for our special ed students a sensory or a gross motor room. We have extra rooms for tutoring. We have a science lab room, music room for our teachers. So the facility is ready to bring the kids in, to house our kids.
So ma'am, you mentioned she's currently utilizing 7 rooms here at Mecca, and then you said 4
At Travis, correct.
And then what else did you say that we're bringing?
We would then bring in our MISDs. So right now we have, at Travis, we have a 3-year-old classroom, and then we have, I have it right here.
The 3-year-old, is that the 4 classrooms, or is that apart from
No,
the
that's
4?
apart. So we have the Head Start, which is 11 classrooms, divided up between this location and Travis.
Okay.
And then we have our MISD pre-K classrooms, which is 1 3-year-old, and, yeah, we have several. Hold on, I have it right now. Here it is. So right now, we would have the 1 3-year-old at Travis that are our MISD kiddos.
Not Head Start.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we have a total of 2, 4, 5, 6, 8 4-year-old classrooms that are MISD, and then a total of 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 kinder classrooms. But all of these, so basically what it would be the Head Start with the MISD is a total of 23. So we're okay to hold all our kids here. And provide other classrooms, like a sensory room, a counseling room.
Okay, so you
And
said
special
right,
ed, too.
okay, so you said right now, there's a total of 29 rooms here at Mecca?
Yes.
That can be utilized? And you're saying we have 7 Head Start here at Mecca? Yes. 4 at Travis?
Correct.
And then you're looking at bringing
I
1
can
from
share it with you,
Travis,
ma'am.
8 total from the 4-year-old, and then 13 kinder?
Yes.
Okay,
Now,
that-
this number here is still, because we do get more kids that enroll at the beginning of next year. These are our current counts right now. We still don't know how many new pre-K 4 kids we'll get in the district.
How many?
Or, right. So, but that's what I'm saying. We have well over enough classrooms for the extra kids that enroll into our pre-K 4 or kinder classrooms.
The reason that I'm asking is because I'm adding up all the rooms that you just mentioned, the 7, the 4, the 1 3-year-old, the 8 4-year-olds, and the 13 kinder. I have 33, and you say we have 29 rooms here.
29 classrooms, but we have additional rooms that are not used as classrooms. That makes
So we
sense.
would have-
Like
Like
right now, we
offices,
have,
yeah.
yeah.
Storage.
How many more potential classrooms?
Yes, that
do
are
we have?
active.
The reason I'm asking, because you're saying we have a
Yeah.
total of 29 here at Mecca.
It's because we use them for
But I'm
other
adding all the
stuff.
ones that you said
Storage, office, labs.
from Mercedes ISD and Head
Need to-
Start, and it
need to
totals
tell the lab,
33.
they also have the storage now?
Where is it
Marcus.
here?
Marcus. the lady
Because
said,
we
"Come on."
have,
They
we
probably
would
have
need
lab
the
or storage.
19 gen ed classes plus the 3, that's 19, 20, 21, 22, okay? And this facility has 29 classrooms, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and it has 34 total,
What has 34 total?
this facility.
Okay, that's what I was asking, because you had said 29. So it has
Oh,
a
I'm sorry,
capacity?
29 for classrooms, but
Classrooms,
there's
classrooms.
additional.
Okay, so we would.
A total of 34, yes, sorry,
Because we have 33 right now.
yeah. Oh, and there's also the setup of the drop-off area, the bus area. We have it in opposite ends, so that way it's not an issue with traffic.
And Head Start has their own regulations that we have to comply with as well, because they're licensing regulations. On the drop-off and pickup and the separation of it, it just works out beautifully. This facility was made for early childhood,
Bingo.
was designed for early
That's
childhood.
right.
And the other thing is, right now, we have the location of Mel at 2 different locations, Travis and here. That is just a temporary for this current school year, because we started that this year. So we do need to join them.
We need to.
Well, I'm grateful for your passion.
And sorry, I'm not a math person, so. A lot of
Your
help
due
here.
diligence, and I can tell you.
This
you're
is
from
what I
Mercedes, so
love.
Of course, of course.
Early
and
childhood.
You're oozing
Yeah.
the enthusiasm, and that's what we need, because we need to keep our kids and bring more in.
Yes, I agree. And actually, that was, when we were an early childhood center, I think that brought in more kids. At one point, we were up to 768 students just
Awesome.
at the early childhood center.
That is awesome.
And so we've decreased the amount of pre-K kinder classrooms in the district since we did away with. So I think it would bring in kids. Parents like the fact
We'll
that
also have kids
They're all
sit on-
together.
they're all together, they're
Right.
kept together, they're on the same buses, so I only see the benefits.
Yeah, that's music to my ears,
Yeah.
right there. ADA, baby. I mean, ADA.
We do have, we have enough room, trust me. I pulled out the MEC map earlier today, just to make sure.
Providing those sensory rooms.
Yes.
And we're really needing that at this time. We've been experiencing high volumes of children with AU, autism, and the sensory, I really need a sensory room, because that kind of de-escalates some of the behaviors in the classroom, because COVID did a real number on our babies, and those are the COVID babies that are coming in, and they really do need that calmness, and in a regular ed classroom, it doesn't work.
This is where it starts. This is the foundation.
It's the foundation.
Thank you, ladies. That was a great presentation. Thank you.
Very insightful.
Yep.
Yes.
We're gonna move to the elementary schools. Oh, middle schools. Thank you. Middle schools.
Check on middle school?
Just as enthused as everybody else.
Can we,
got a big
can you give me a
contract.
few minutes? Yes, sir. Because we're connecting with the high school facilities, and that way we can speak to the middle school. Thank you.
So we're moving to Chuckle? or-
Sergeant Harrell Middle School.
Good evening, board members, board president, Mr. Garcia, Ms. Chavez. So I'm going to be presenting the Sergeant Harold Middle School Facilities Needs Assessment. So really quick, from the original one, original presentation, we did away with the rekeying, the 2 doors and the landscape, because the rekeying and the 2 doors that we needed to address will be part of the Safe Schools grant. So we'll start with the first one, the roofing. We need replacement, estimated square footage of 68,000, and that will be a projected cost of $2,040,000.
Give me a second, Mr.
It's in the black and white.
Trying to figure it out here.
I'm sorry.
There are no attachments in the orange that you have, right? No, it's just whatever we have.
Yes, it's only, yeah.
Sir, can you elaborate on the new, just any changes that were made?
On the new stuff.
With the new, in this case, and then anything else that they have in terms of questions? I know that I've already communicated that we dropped the doors that were proposed to be replaced and the rekeying of our facilities.
Yes, ma'am. So the only thing new here is the technology, would be upgrades to additions and renovations on technology. Everything else was kept the same.
Yes, Harrow was basically kept the same, and the only change there was for technology, which was a total of $150, and this is just because of the construction, the proposed new construction for the campus.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
No, hang on, but I'm saying thank you because that's what you communicated.
Yes.
And I appreciate that you did the priority 1 to your band hall. That changed to priority.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's really it's a good area. You know, a lot of times we've been informed by a former school board member that you know, we've been lacking in those schools. Harrow, some band hall, gym, whatnot. So I'm glad to see that, and
Yes,
I'm glad
ma'am.
that this is going to be, this is really exciting, and this is something that we need to be able to upgrade our other facilities instead of just putting everything in one basket. You know, we have an opportunity here to do some great things, and it's campus-wide, and it's programs and everywhere. So I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you quickly want to refer to the screen here, we added the tennis courts, the turf football and the track you had already seen in place. We identified the new band hall, which would be the gym, and the proposed upgrades of Sergeant Harrell Middle School, the parking lot, the road towards the agriculture science complex, and to the storage area. So we wanted to make sure we identified those new additions and, made them clear to you. That's pretty much it.
Mr. I see that you did a road now over the parking lot and into the complex, the ag complex. But is there a way to separate? Because now we have, that's what I had suggested in the first meeting. We're using that one road, that one entry where we're gonna have parents, staff, buses, and out ag. We can't move to where we do that road specifically by itself, so these ag students and parents can go in and out and not create more congestion at Harrell?
We can revisit the map to try and see if there's an alternate route. The route that was visible is alongside the canal on the north side of our property. So it rides along a canal. As you see there, you see that brush area? That's a retainage pond. So going straight through there to 491 would be a little challenge there, not unless we go through a circle around the residential areas that you see there and out to the right, because that is MISD property. We'd have to take a survey just to make sure that our boundaries are ours. But that was a proposed, however, we can revisit the map and see if there's an alternate route.
My only suggestion on the initial one, because now we're adding more traffic, more congestion to that one place.
Mhm.
And that 491, we're gonna have traffic
we can look at an alternate route, ma'am.
Mr. Herrera, could I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Harold, is that under the auspice of the city, or is that under county? The property of
Zone?
Harold? Is it zone for the
Our
city?
understanding is the city, because the city has jurisdiction on some of the,
Lift stations?
yeah,
Well,
but we can verify,
I mean, the city maps are drawn like this, so we may need to verify that,
I'll verify.
Yeah.
because they have lift stations,
You know, because to me, a partnership, maybe even because it's gonna grow, and maybe there's an option there where, just thinking out of the box, maybe a bridge, an exit out, because I think Ms. Vallejo's spot on. It's gonna be congested. It really is. Maybe we could just have some type of partnership, some conversations. I mean, I'm not telling you, I'm sorry, Ms. Chavez, if we could have that conversation.
I think we've already planned on that after the
Okay.
first meeting. I met with the staff
Roger.
and we're coordinating the safety and having that conversation also at the city and with our county as
Sure.
well.
I apologize, that I should have addressed
No
that to
problem.
the superintendent. I apologize, Mr. Herrera.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Just a quick comment, please, Mr. Chavez. I'm going to have a conversation with you, if it's okay, and the board. I'm going to try not to deliberate too much. That I'm, as a taxpayer, this is not as a board member, as a taxpayer, and I want it to be on the record, and I want the public that is witnessing and watching. As a taxpayer, ma'am, I'm going to address to you, ma'am, as a taxpayer. We all know that many years ago, I supported the bond. I had no issues supporting the bond for Sergeant Harold Elementary. And I had no issues with the Mercedes Alternative Academy. I supported that 100%. I am like I said before, I'm a product of the marginalized students. You know, we need to have those conversations. It's a tough world, I understand that, but I make no examples, I'm sorry, it comes to my heart a lot, so no excuses. But Ms. Chavez, I'm a taxpayer, ma'am, and something went wrong because we have an unwritten contract. When I went in, I voted for it. That specifically building, that facility, ma'am, was earmarked for the children for elementary. I have a concern about the Mercedes Alternative Academy because you were the lightning rod for the dropout rate, the Alternative Academy, the early college. That's your legacy. Outstanding work on that one, ma'am. But as a taxpayer, my question to you is, ma'am, are we going to revisit that particular planning again, that we go to the taxpayers, this is what we're going to do, this we're going to do, this we're going to do, and all of a sudden, I'm not blaming you, man, not at all. Your legacy is there already. I voted for it, I was there, I was off the board, that's water underneath the bridge. The question to you, ma'am, is how can we assure the taxpayers that we say one thing? Again, it's an unwritten contract. And all of a sudden, within 5-8 years, we shuttled that idea, that vision of this to something else, and now I'm on the record saying those children at Harold need to have equality, parity of Chacuan. So go ahead, maybe be kind enough just to ask that simple question. Just how can we assure the taxpayers that we're going to do what we say we're going to do?
One of the things that I want to assure the community, our board members, board president, I want to make sure that you clearly understand that the decision-making process and the conversations and the planning that has gone into place is not just about the basic needs, but most importantly, my passion, which is curriculum and instruction in this case. So every decision with regards to facilities is in alignment with what is it that we're trying to achieve for our students in this case, and looking at the accountability system as well. And what does the research say? I am extremely grateful for the communication on the Early Childhood Center, because we know that when our children start school, we're looking at working with them to be able to create that level playing field. So the early childhood program and the education and being able to work with those students to give them that level of advantage, so that when we integrate them into the elementary school, we have given them an opportunity to work now on moving to that accountability and assessment in terms of readiness. That we leave the Early Childhood Center here with students who are reading at the kinder level with the hope of up to 6 months, so that we can deal with that learning loss that happens during the summer in this case. We know that economics plays a critical role in school readiness. And as a community, we know that we have those issues and we have those concerns. And this is how we can take advantage as a school district in terms of positioning. The other that we know is that families want to get back to work post-pandemic. But we understand that child care support for families is no longer there. So we have a win-win for families, as well as the opportunity for the school district to increase enrollment and provide that opportunity that not only are you providing a service, but you're also helping our elementary schools in terms of preparation by having those 2 years. I know that there was communication about Head Start students and Head Start classrooms. All of those students are under an agreement that if we work, those are all of our children. They're part of our ADA and the acclimation process to be able to hang on to every single student and parent to be a part of our elementary schools. The other, with regards to your, the building of the Mercedes Academic Facility. At that time, when I transitioned into this district in 2008, that campus was built for disciplinary purposes. And I know I looked at it and I loved the facility, but I wasn't happy with the fact that we planned a very lofty goal for discipline. We want to make sure, in the communication to the administration here, is that we work with our students to identify those critical needs that they may have, dealing with social emotional issues, behavior issues, whatever concerns they may have, that we serve at the campus level to try to intervene and create systems of support, so that disciplinary action is the last of those options. And we also understand that we are going to have students who make those poor choices, but I don't expect to fill 9 classrooms at that facility. So back when that facility was built back in the 90s, we know that we had a different accountability system. And at that time, we were working strictly with credit recovery so that we could get them a high school diploma. That's no longer the case. We're looking at getting students career ready, military ready, connecting them to an industry so that we work on giving them an option of high paying career opportunity as a school district. A high school diploma is not the high end of that preparation. And we know it through the accountability system as well. The other is that we understand that as a community, the Early College High School Initiative has been so instrumental in this community. When I hear that we have saved our community through our partner, STC, that we have saved our community an overall of $9 million from ensuring that our students get their associate degrees right before they go on to higher education and secure the next 2 years, and they come back to our community with the bachelor's degree, or they remain in this community with the high-paying career with an associate's degree. The other is when you look at economic development that is going on in this community, and as you saw from our EDC president at the previous meeting, the development that is going on, the potential for the 7,000 plus homes that will be available in this community in the near future, and they're already here. So much of the planning and the conversation with the administration has been about positioning the school district to be there to take advantage of the growth and development that is going on in our community. And to be able to look at the needs assessments and to ensure that you as a school district are positioning our facilities to be there for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And to look at the infrastructure, to look at the equipment, the resources, because we're also looking at departments that are proposing equipment, such as transportation needs, maintenance and operations, dealing with equipment, to work within our system to be able to train our staff to take on some of this work that can be conducted on site. The other is looking at what we're trying to do over here with Safe Schools and ensuring that as we roll out the recommendations that you have before you, that we keep in mind school safety and where can we use the resources. We know that we hire security guards, that we have also a very good MOU with our city of Mercedes, where we secure EROs, educational resource officers, that do an excellent job of helping us coordinate that security as well. But we're also looking at the cost, and when we look at proximity to the secondary programming, and to be able to contain all of those services at the same time that we think about the cost and being more effective and efficient with those costs as a school district. The communication has been very clear that we as a school district have to work at a higher level of transparency with our community, and that we're going to be looking at this process is not just for the school district. The school district belongs to the community. It belongs to the parents, to the children in this community. And we as a school district want to be very proud to be able to offer them the best in programming, the best in facilities, the best in recreational opportunities for our students. I don't want them traveling to another school district and to be playing or experiencing their sports or their extracurricular activities in facilities that do not resemble what we have here in our school district. So we know that there's also the thought of preventative maintenance, you know, when you're looking at facilities and the costs related, you know, to the maintenance of our fields. All of that is so important as you're looking at how do we save as a school district. And yes, the proposal of some recreational space for every single school is so important as we deal with the issue of mental health, as we deal with the issue of health and fitness as being so important for our youth, and dealing with just general concerns with medical health in our community, and creating safe spaces, you know, where students can get outdoors and exercise and enjoy, you know, that level of team building across the district, and to be able to decompress from the instructional setting as well is so important. And we have to look at all those options as a school district, and it's not one campus over the other. You know, I visit with the leadership about the importance of looking at every single campus as you would your household, and every single student as my own children. Out of all of them, which one do you want to have less services or more experiences in terms of facilities? So we're trying to create that equality across our district in terms of experiences and in terms of the overall resources that they have available at each campus, and the assessments that the leadership in the room has taken the time, in addition to their work schedule, and they have been very committed at assessing and making recommendations and looking at, yes, being frugal in terms of what is needed first, in terms of priorities. And I know that we will work because you have the right team on board. My communication to you is that I know many of these individuals here in the room, and they have worked for me in the past in terms of driving the vision and getting results. We went from a low-performing school district to a recognized school district, and we did that within 3 years. And you have many of those individuals sitting here in the room, and there's no doubt that with the level of involvement, leadership that makes it a point that you have to be involved, and that you have to be able to make those calls, and that you have to be able to work closely with a high understanding of what we owe this community in terms of transparency and the opportunity that we have to be able to set the direction of this school district, regardless of what has happened in the past. We can stay and fight that issue and blind ourselves through anger or resentment and really miss the opportunity as a community and as a school district to take advantage of all of that growth and development that is going on in Mercedes. Or we can come together and unite and say, we want to position ourselves to be there as a high-performing school district with the right facilities, the right resources for our students, so that when that growth arrives here in this community, then we're going to be right at the most advantageous point to hang on to our enrollment.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Chavez. I appreciate
you.
it. I like that term, equality. I appreciate that.
And at the end of the day, I think it's on us as 7 board members, the people that asked to be put in this job and be stewards of the public's purse, and more importantly, their children. And it's on us to make sure their investment in not only their funds, but their children is secured. And their future is secured. And so ultimately, the responsibility is on us to to hold everybody accountable, and for us to be held accountable for doing what we're saying we're gonna do.
That's right.
And they will let us know quickly. So,
Yeah.
which is a good check
Yeah.
in this situation, so.
And I agree with Mr. Garcia. Ms. Chavez, thank you so much. To be good stewards of our budget, we need to, and we see something, and it needs to be questioned, and we need accountability, and we need to show our community, we need to show our taxpayers what's in it for me, because that's what they're going to ask. What's in it for me? What's in it for my child? And I'm sitting here too, like, not just a board member, but a parent. And I want to be able to tell these, the parents of our community, what's in it for you? This is something that we should have been, we're a little behind. We're not, compared to the other districts, but we're going to get there. And that's what a good board is going to do. And that's what actually all of us are going to do, which I'm so proud to be here. I really enjoy this. Thank you.
Any more questions? No. Mr. Martinez.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Chavez, school president, school board colleagues. So we're going to review the Chacoanville School Facilities Assessment. I'm going to point out just 2 brief additions, not necessarily additions, but highlighted areas there that I'd like to go over from the last needs assessment. One of the things, of course, is the intercom. I think we spoke about that earlier. Upgrading our intercom system would be at $120,000. Another classroom upgrades as well. We're looking again at desks and storage and the technology at a total of $225,000, Chacoan Middle School. And then the last item that was included, in addition to the last assessment, was an addition of an annex. We have a growing number of band students. Right now, we're at about 240 students and growing in our band program, including the orchestra. So we're looking at addition of some, a way to include 2,000 square feet more to a band program so that we could accommodate the growing number of students in our band program.
So would it move west?
Correct.
That is correct, yes. Yes.
West.
West. It would be just right outside the band hall. Yes, sir. Yes. And those are the areas that we're looking at and improving on.
This roof replacement, that would be the entire school?
No, it is only, if you look at the screen up here to the right, the center, well, where you see the, you can identify the gym. Everything there that's surrounding is existing roof that's been past 20 years. A, B, and C hall, that's metal roof. We're okay there. The only roof we're looking at to replace is around the gym, and of course the dome. Correct. That is
Yes.
correct. I don't have a clicker too.
Another thing we're looking at, I'm sorry, it's in addition, is the, we're looking at the reconfiguring the front entrance of the school. With student safety in mind, we're looking at reconfiguring the area there to make sure that we have, we monitor the parents coming in and out and any visitors coming in and out. So that would be another type of upgrade. So just, yes, reconfigure the entrance. And that would be at a total of, where am I? It's 100,000, that is correct. Remodeling, reconfigure the entrance, the renovation. So,
It's very open. It's just very open and.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
You've had some changes in the last couple of years. There's been some changes, but
yes, and we're just trying to kind of making sure that, student safety and making sure that we bring in the office closer to the entrance that we can monitor it more carefully.
A direct view of the parents that are coming in. Unlike other campuses, Chaco Middle School has a hallway that passes through that front office area, which we, direct view of who's coming in is very important. So that's what we're trying to, that's the goal, to try and provide that direct view.
Yes, ma'am.
Really quick on the band.
Yes, ma'am.
I noted the upgrade. You mentioned 2,000 square feet. Is that adding 2,000 square feet to the current?
Correct.
Yes.
And where are we looking at getting that space, that additional square footage?
We've discussed a possible modular building just west of the current band hall. In hopefully speaking to architects, we'd be able to enclose and somehow connect the current band to the modular building. But Mr. McKinney needs the additional space, an average of.
He's right here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McKinney.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, currently when the building was built, back when I first came to Mercedes, we only had junior high there. We had no orchestra program. And so right now we're kind of bursting at the seams. All of our current ensemble rooms that we take kids into are really storage rooms that we're just stuffed into as best as we can. And it's probably gotten worse since now we're a 6th grade, 7th and 8th campus. Because used to be our beginners weren't over there, we were at a different campus. And so we divide up our beginners into brass, woodwind, and percussion. And so we do best we can right now stuffing kids into little rooms. And so a couple additional rooms will free that up so the kids can go in and directors can hear better and that kind of thing.
So we're looking at attached,
Yeah, so it'd be like right, it'd be if they can, just depends on the architect probably, whether we can.
an
Yeah.
extension.
An extension. It'd be a goal to connect them, of course, to make sure that our kids are transitioning safely. But yes, it'd be in just west of the current band hall building.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We should discuss about the roof going from A wing to the band hall.
you're talking about the water chill lines? That's included in there.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
The intercom replacement upgrades, it's, it's added on, right, from the last time we met? That's new to the list?
No, it
Or
was,
is still
I
here?
think the price was just.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's what
it was.
That's what I was thinking. It was there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The whole piece right there? And so even with the intercom, with the remodeling, the front entrance of the front, you would still have to redo all that. That would still, that's still considering the renovation of the front entrance?
Yes, ma'am. It's a dated intercom system. Upgrading it to, I believe it's a digital intercom system would be much, much better. It's workable. I mean, we have an efficient intercom system, but upgrading it would be ideal.
Well, I agree totally with the upgrade, the front area, because there have been times that I've gone to visit you, and, the classes are, students are coming out, and they're walking, and you just get caught up in that whole, with all the students, so I could see where it is a safety, it's a safety concern. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Up next, Ruben Hinojosa Elementary, Mrs. Ramírez.
I haven't been stuck on.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Still moving forward with trying to move the football field? Still moving forward trying to move the football field?
Yes.
Crossing that street.
To make it closer.
Sure.
We just need to make sure that we have the width. If there's sufficient width there that we could use the current one, we wouldn't move, but the plan is to move it a little bit forward so we have more spacing available for the installation of the turf field.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, I believe the changes to my needs assessment were the addition of the intercom system, and then it was just going to be the removal of the master key system and the removal of the door replacement because of, it's going to be covered by the SAFE grant and an increase in the technology budget. And those were all the changes for JFK. Any questions? And in the back is a map of where the turf would be.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruben Hinojosa, next, please.
Sir. No, we just did. Sorry.
Good evening. For Hinojosa Elementary, we did have a few removals. Again, the same as Ms. Chacon stated, it is due to the SAFE grant covering that cost. And so the only two items that we added was the intercom system, replacement and upgrade to our current system, and furniture to our classrooms to replace student desks and staff chairs. We haven't had any replacements since the school was built. So that would be the only upgrade, is to realign our classrooms for student instruction. Any questions?
This turf is also on the west side of the school?
It's right there.
Yes, the turf is at the location we showed last week, on the side of the transportation, in conjunction to our play area that we already have. And so it would just be in close proximity to walk over to the turf. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Sarmiento?
Here she is. What was your name? I didn't catch it last time.
Cecilia Sarmiento.
Okay, yeah, she got me fired up last time.
Cecilia Sarmiento from Taylor. Taylor, we had some items that were removed, okay, but good evening, everyone. And they were the exterior doors replacement and the rekey to the master key and the landscape. Those were three things that we removed from Taylor. And as my other colleagues, they stated, the exterior doors and the rekey is because through the SAFE grant, they're gonna be able to get those. The only two things that were added to Taylor is the intercom, the replacement upgrades to the current system, and technology, also upgrades for the front office and cafeteria renovations, because we do need to have that, the intercom in the back, because at this point, we do not have it.
But you're still fired up, right?
Oh, yes. You're more than welcome to come by, and I'll show you.
If no questions, Ms. Rivera?
Okay,
And-
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Rivera, thank you. I know that Mr. Chacon has been assisting you in presenting your needs assessment.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chacon.
Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so for Travis, some of the removals were part of the safety grant. The exterior doors, the rekey of the entire campus. I did have a couple of things that were added. Doors separating office area from student hallway. Furniture, student desks and staff chairs. Staff restrooms. Replace upgrades to current system for the intercom, and technology upgrades. Those were all added. Okay, so now one thing that if we don't house Mel, some of the things that also that will be removed would be the wraparound driveway overlay in the parking area, and then the canopy behind the west side. If we don't have, no longer house Mel, that would be removed also.
We'd also have more classroom space.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Some
Mhm.
of the other things like.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Awesome.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Like, if I can get, what is it, transportation.
Good evening, Ms. Chavez,
Good evening, sir.
Superintendent, Mr. Garcia,
And I
Board
think
President, Board members. This one? There, testing. Okay, so in our end, in our department, we did make some minor adjustments. Instead of doing the building, the construction building that we had initially requested, we decided to go with an industrial building. It's a beginning lounge training room for our employees, our department. I think we have more options with this building, and it's going to cost less than what we projected initially. So I think we have more options in possibly dividing, creating rooms and so forth for the use of our department, and it could also, it's also for the district, and whenever we can have meetings and so forth. We did also include additional compact cars. We added 4 more, which 3 were going to be for technology. And we also included 1 vehicle for safe schools. Okay, yes, we are. At the very bottom, we kept the 2 Suburbans, and then we added those extra compact cars for daily use. So those are the changes we made as far as the vehicles. I know we had discussed the okay, so on the replacement on the different departments, we have vehicles over 10 years to be replaced, CNS with 1, CT with 1, curriculum with 1, maintenance with a total of 20, shipping and receiving 3, technology 1, and the transportation department with 7. Total cost to replace vehicles is $1,660,000. This is an area where we do need a lot of improvement, and I think this, by taking this approach, will better our operations and the school needs, the district needs overall. That's all the changes we had as far as the initial list. But we try and serve, the district-wide on the things that we do. Things constantly change in our department versus the campus. We're run a little bit different.
Mr. Vallejo, on
Yes, ma'am.
the compact car, you mentioned that there was one additional, and you said it's safe schools. Is it like for the truancy or safe schools director, or is it just a general, just a car for safe
That'll
schools
be,
to go between facilities?
Yeah, that'll be for our director, so he can make his rounds district-wide, and I know we got him running all over the place, so I think we needed to provide him with a vehicle.
Okay.
So we added that as well.
I agree. I do agree completely. However, we do have our truancy personnel
Three.
that are using their personal vehicles to go visit
Yes.
homes. And they use, like I said, they use their own personal vehicles. I'm aware that we pay mileage.
We added,
Yes.
yes.
We added it on
And we
here?
added
Okay.
the compact vehicles to make those available for liaisons and
Liaisons, there you go, yeah.
That's a total of 3 that we included, Ms. Chavez, for that same purpose.
That's good, because, their cars will be easily identifiable, they show up at somebody's house, and, we don't really know what their day entails, and who they come across, and so we want to make sure that there's, that their vehicles are maintained, again, maintenance, preventative maintenance, of course, and so they have the means to get around, so they don't have to use their personal vehicles.
Yes, they're out there daily,
Yeah.
trying to get our students back to
Yeah,
school and so forth.
They do good. They've done some hard work, and I really appreciate all those individuals.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. So that's it for my department. If y'all have any questions, I'll start entertaining any question that y'all might have.
I'm going to ask Ms. Marquez. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, that slide right there is in correlation with this sheet. We were just trying to condense the number of vehicles.
Good evening, Board. Mrs. Chavez.
Thank
My
you.
name is Martha Marquez. I'm the Child Nutrition Director. And very briefly, I'll go over some of our department building needs. And it's basically, we're looking at remodeling our previous child nutrition building located behind, maintenance between the Graham Gym. We're located behind on Ohio Street. And so basically, we're looking at renovating the roofing at a projected cost of $130,000. Upgrades on technology for access control at $15,000. drain repair on the west side of the building because of the higher elevation with the alley and then water, seeping into the building. Estimated repairs at 10,000. And then renovating the building itself, to accommodate, our, we do a lot of receiving of shipment of foods and non-food items, and so basically renovating it to house all of our I guess food and non-food supplies. And then the remediation process that we currently do need at 70,000. So estimated projected costs are at 240,000. So those would be basically the needs that we need in our building. Okay. Any questions? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
So much.
And we have, sir, do you want to go ahead and address the auditorium and the transition academy?
The auditorium facility needs, of course, we have some roofing repairs that we have to conduct, technology upgrades, fire alarm, HVAC replacement units, auditorium walkway, front area. We would like to, that was an addition. We'd like to revamp and give that auditorium a new look. And some electrical upgrades, of course, to provide additional lighting. And of course, a parking lot right across south of the tennis courts that needs an overlay work. And of course, the current parking that's northwest of the auditorium, which is also part of the campus. The total amount there is $660,000 for the auditorium facility needs. Curriculum. Currently, the administration building, here are some of the upgrades of roofing, fire alarm, renovations, technology, and some plumbing issues that we have due to the age of the building, which the total cost is $765,000, projected cost. Transition Academy. Okay, our Transition Academy, which is the previous special ed department building. Currently, the replacement of the roof is estimated at 2,500 square feet, which is an average of $75,000. Technology upgrades, just to accommodate our students there, is around $8,000, which is a cumulative of $83,000 for the building for our Transition Academy students. Say about. Do we have any questions?
Can you elaborate, I'm sorry,
Yes,
can you elaborate on the proposal based on our conversation and planning with the committee? What happens if you're removing the portables from the high school where we currently house the special education department? Can you elaborate on the proposed housing?
The proposed housing for the special ed department, once if we move forward with the building of the new CT building and removing the current special ed building there, the staff would be relocated to the current CNS building, which is previous curriculum building, previous cosmetology building. The building has met all requirements. And so the special ed department would be housed there. There's more than enough offices in that area to accommodate the staff. CNS staff just wants to return back to their previous building, which is housed with a warehouse that they oversee. So moving back to their previous location is ideal for them upon moving forward with the modifications to the building. So that is the current discussions that we're having on the possibilities of, and proposals of relocating staff to accommodate them.
Any other questions? We're good?
Okay, good, thank you.
Before we adjourn this meeting, I want to thank every single one of y'all for putting in the long hours, putting this information together for us, trying to better our school district every single day. This is just a small step, but we appreciate all the effort that's gone in thus far. Thank you so much for your commitment to our district and to our students. So with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Sorry about that.
Can I make one quick comment, guys? And I know you guys gotta get home, but you have 2 to 3 minutes to spare?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm asking everybody, do you guys believe in this vision?
Yes.
we do. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Because everybody's watching.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel confident that if we're able to get this done, it's gonna help you guys move the district in a new direction?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can I get everybody to raise their hand, that way everybody can see? This is overdue.
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna have to all come together and we can get this thing done, okay? Let's do it.
I love the fire.
Ready?
Well,
That's what it was.
everybody's gonna need to talk to every team member in your school. You're gonna talk to every parent. Everybody tries to get 3 votes. And it's done.
We're not there yet.
I know.
It's not just buildings we're taking care of, it's you all.
It's everybody.
Yeah, it's for the kids, guys.
Everyone and
This is for the
everything.
kids.
You,
This
the
is for the
students, yes.
And we
Thank
don't
you.
mean to be asking and asking and asking, but we are here, we're representing our entire city. And speaking from a voter perspective, from a community member, I know there's a lot of concerns because of what has been done in the past. But we can't live on the past, we can't think about the past, because that is the past for a reason. Back then, we had different leadership, different board of trustees, and I know that's the million-dollar question, because I get it out there a lot. What is the difference? What are we going to have different this time? The last bond passed, came back and said, you know what? For this certain project, we underestimated, we need X amount of more $1 million. So that's why we're asking, because we want to make sure that we have the clarity, we have the transparency, we have the entire community that can go back and access that social media live. So that is the only reason that we are all coming together, because we're working as a team of 8 with the entire district administration, is just to ensure that we have the needs and not so much a lot of the wants that we had previously. With some of those items, we surpassed the maximum bond that we can request, that we can hope for. So now with focusing on more of the needs and what's gonna suit our district and our students, because that's what we're here for. We're here for our students, and we need to make sure that we keep up with all the neighboring districts. You know, we have Westlaco right next to us that, you know, no comparison because it's a large district. But as far as to facilities, there's no reason why we can't be compatible to our neighboring district. So that's what we're doing here. It's not to bring you back and, oh, we have to go present again. It's just to make sure that what we're doing is in the best interest of the entire community. So thank you very much. I know it's taken a lot of time. It takes away a lot of time from family. And you know, we as Board of Trustees, you know, we're here because we chose to be here. It's time that we're giving away. You know, we're giving up from our families, but we're doing it because that's a responsibility and a commitment that we did to our community. So it's just, let's work together. We're real excited. And yes, we have to make sure that, like Mr. Howell said, is that we get that communication out to the district, out to the community, because we all need to be on board, because at the end of the day, it's all for our city and it's for our students.
Amen.
Thank you again.
Thank you. I have a motion, Chairman.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Howell. I got one over here first, sorry. So we have, it's been moved and second to adjourn. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. The motion passes. We'll move directly into the special board meeting. The time is now 7:48, and I call to order this special board meeting of the Board of Trustees. Call.
We're gonna go to the table over there.
Yes,
Chair.
1 second. Going to establish a quorum. We have Mr. Hernandez, Mr. Howell, we have Mrs. Vallejo, Mr. Martinez, Mrs. Delgado, myself, and virtually we have Mr. Rodriguez. We're also joined by our superintendent, Mrs. Chavez. We now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. The Pledge of Allegiance by Mrs. Vallejo and invocation by Mr. Rodriguez. Everybody please stand.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Dear Lord, thanks for the many blessings you've given us. Continue to guide us, to guide our students, our staff, and our parents. Shine a light down the path you want us to follow, and be with us always. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mrs. Vallejo, Mr. Rodriguez. We can do it here. We're just gonna jump in. Moving on to action agenda. A, Superintendent. 1, discussion of possible action to approve bond legal counsel.
Chairman, I'm gonna make a motion to go in executive session, and the reason I am making the motion is that there's questions that I have on legal matters. I really need to have, my opinion about this is that we need to have some type of clarity on this particular item. A1, discussion possible action to approve bond legal counsel, sir.
Sir, can we discuss this in executive?
Is that a motion?
Consult with me and legal counsel on legal issues regarding this matter.
Okay, sir. So we have a motion from Mr. Hernandez to deviate from the agenda and go straight through to executive session. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Howell. Has been moved and seconded to deviate from the agenda. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign? The motion passes. The time is now 7:51, and this board is now in gotta read it. Executive session. If during the course of this meeting, discussion and any item on the agenda should be held in a closed meeting, the Board of Trustees will conduct a closed meeting in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapters D and E. The board may consult with legal counsel on a matter discussed in executive session pursuant to 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. A, personnel pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, and attorney consultation pursuant to Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. 1, resignations, terminations, appointments, evaluations, reassignments, duties, and discipline of professional, paraprofessional, and non-contract employees, teachers, substitutes, and substitutes for maintenance, transportation and cafeteria department pursuant to Section 551.074. And 2, discussion and private consultation with attorney regarding pending or contemplating legal matters, litigation, settlement matters, and/or matters where the professional duty under the state board requires private consultation with school attorney pursuant to Section 551.071. Now it is 7:52, and this board is now in executive session.